Welcome back to another episode of Sports with a Z and a T. I am Bryce Zielinski alongside Taylor Lattimore. We are, of course, presented by Gozilla Media, sponsored by Mohawk Honda, Johnstone Supply in Troy, and Saving Face Barbershop up in Saratoga Springs. And before we get started, I do want to give a shout out to our friends over at Johnstone Supply. And the final month of 2021 is here. Believe it or not, it's December. Pretty damn close, 18 days and counting down to Christmas. Hard to believe. The holidays are approaching. Make sure your home is safe and warm this season thanks to Johnstone Supply in Troy. The Goodman furnaces are now in stock. Goodman furnaces are not only made in America, but they are also the perfect blend of efficiency and dependability for wherever you may live. Don't forget to clean out your air filters before your friends and family visit this season. Find out about ways to purify the air in your home and adjust your filters before the big holiday events by connecting with Johnstone Supply in Troy. Visit them on 6th Avenue in Troy from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or give them a call at 518-272-5922. Whether it is George, Tom, Kev, or James, the awesome crew over there will offer you the best recommendations for this season. Call them today to get the best advice on how to prepare your home for the snow and to change your boilers or furnace. Again, call Johnstone Supply in Troy. That number, if you want to write it down one more time, 518-272-5922, or go ahead and leave them a comment on Facebook.com/Johnstone Supply Troy NY. We have obviously a big show as the college football playoff is set. We had a big week in the NFL, and the playoff push is full throttle as always. And Taylor, let's start right there. Playoff bound. We have our college football playoff, and I mean, really, the four teams are not a surprise, right? I mean, I think we went into last week's show. I mean, I really did not want to see Cincinnati in, but we get it. I understand it. I mean, you beat Houston. Congratulations. But Alabama boat raced Georgia in the SEC championship game. And I texted you. I told you
said it was going to be close. You said it was going to be close. You did not call that Alabama was going to run away like that.
I didn't call Alabama was going to run away, but I did say Bama was going to win that game. I did. And here we are. I mean, look, Georgia, by far the best team in the nation, not so fast. Bama said, hold my beer. And honestly, they are now the betting favorites to win the national championship. And I think they are, in my mind, my pick. We'll get to it here in a bit. But Michigan, number 2, they handled Iowa with relative ease in the Big Ten championship, so they fall at 2. Georgia falls at 3 as being the number 1 team the entire year, losing Alabama in the SEC championship game. They're not going to fall too far. They are 3. Cincinnati at 4. Obviously, idle Notre Dame and idle Ohio State move up 1 spot to 5 and 6 because of the Oklahoma State loss to Baylor. So the bowls are set. The college football playoff is set. Bama, Michigan, Georgia, Cincinnati.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week. We said this exact scenario would be the easiest way for Alabama to make sure that they were included. Because I talked a lot about how if they lose and say Oklahoma State were to win, which Oklahoma State didn't, so it would have been moot point anyway. I think even if Alabama had lost, they still would have been in, just because of the showing that Oklahoma State put up. They wouldn't
have put Notre Dame in over Bama.
No. I totally agree. The only way was if the Big 12 champion were to get in, and that being Oklahoma State. It would have to be Oklahoma State because they just beaten Oklahoma. But that didn't happen. Alabama won, and I think it was fair to say that Georgia was the best team in the country at the time because all the evidence that we'd shown, every opponent that they went up against, they destroyed. Their games were almost never close. They almost never had a scare. And then coming into this game,
they also didn't play anybody.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they definitely didn't play much of it. And besides, like Auburn, who like the rivalry game, like we talked about last time, and we texted, and the fact that the rivalry game, you don't really know what to expect. It's always going to be a dogfight, no matter what. And so the only comparable matchup was that, or not really anyone. Like the SEC.
They beat Texas A&M.
Yeah,
I mean,
outside of the top 2 teams in the SEC, I mean, Florida. Like what are we doing here? Like, it's not great teams. So yeah, they weren't really tested. And I think that probably played a factor. And I'm interested to see if we can get a rematch of Alabama, Georgia in these playoffs, because that's what I'm looking forward to, because now that Georgia has seen it, it's like, can they really respond now?
See, I think we're setting up, because we've seen this scenario play out a couple years back. Bama and Georgia played each other in the SEC championship game, then ended up having different opponents in the college football playoff, then met each other again in the college football championship game. That exact scenario could play out again. So let's go to the two matchups, the four teams. Bama at number 1, they're going to play Cincinnati. Look, congratulations, Cincinnati, for your historic season, being the first non-Power 5 conference team to make it. Here's Alabama. You have Heisman Trophy favorite, in my opinion, in Bryce Young. Cincinnati, right? I mean, come on. I mean, come on. You could talk about Aiden Hutchinson all you want, but let's be real here. Bryce Young is that dude. Look, Cincinnati, I don't think they're going to be intimidated. They showed up against Georgia last year in the Peach Bowl. However, let's be real here. I think Bama is finally hitting its stride and really looks to be the best team in the nation right now. And look, Desmond Ridder could find some success stretching the field. Cincinnati's defense can give any team a chance. Obviously, Bama losing John Mechie to a torn ACL hurts, but I mean, it's Bama. Let's just bring up the next 5-star recruit to replace him. I mean, come on.
Going to get drafted in the first 4 rounds of the NFL.
Right. So, like, if there's any program that an injury could mean less, it's Bama. I mean, seriously. I mean, Tua goes down and Mac Jones comes in. I mean, the list goes on and on and on with what Bama's done when they've had injuries. I don't think this game's going to be very close. And the conversation is more going to be Michigan and Georgia. Bama, Cincinnati, to me is, I mean, I would be stunned, absolutely stunned, if Cincinnati wins that. They won't. I'm telling you right now. Cincinnati has about 0.0000001% chance of beating Alabama.
Yeah, and to your point about Bryce Young, I mean, if he wasn't the Heisman favorite before that game, that SEC championship,
that cemented it.
He is now 421 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks. He played a near perfect game. And he absolutely dismantled what everyone thought, I would say most people thought, was the best team in the country, bar none, because they had shown it all year that they were, and they never got close to even a scare. And Bryce Young comes in there and just absolutely lights them up. And so with that, we're looking at this matchup. I know that Cincinnati is not scared. I mean, what do they have to be scared of? They have nothing to lose. They've gotten to this point. This is, just being there, just being part of the 4, just getting to participate in the dance is good enough for most teams that would strive. Like, if they made it there, I know Cincinnati wants more, but like, when you look back at it, even if they lose to Alabama, you're going to say, that was a good season, Cincinnati. Well done. You did good. You won every game in front of you. You made it to the top 4, even if you got crushed by Alabama. So I don't really think they have anything to lose. So they're going to be playing probably a little more loose. Do I think it'll matter in the end? Probably not. I think we've said it all year long that we don't think that Cincinnati would do it. But Cincinnati is a great opportunity. If they truly believe that they are one of the best teams in the country, if the committee is right in putting them in the top 4, then let's see it, Cincinnati. Let's go. I'm interested to see how it goes. I don't want it to be a blowout. I would hope it would be close, but
I mean, the way the season played out, it was kind of to the point where you had to put Cincinnati in. I mean, look, Notre Dame probably had some type of argument, but you lost to Cincinnati. So, like, I mean, granted, Notre Dame was a different team then, but you also aren't in a conference to win a championship. So that argument wasn't there. You could make an argument that if Ohio State played Cincinnati, Ohio State would probably boat race them. I do firmly believe that. But you can't look at a 2-loss team that didn't play in the conference championship and really put them with legitimate thought against the team that was undefeated and won their conference. I mean, give them credit where credit's due. Like you just said, I don't think it's going to matter in a couple weeks come New Year's Eve, but we'll wait till we get there to talk about that.
The thing about Notre Dame is, like, just like figure it out. Find a conference. Like you have to have a conference game because it makes so much difference in these games. Like not having it is such a detriment. So like if you ever make the college
football, at this point,
if they do, it's like they have to be perfect.
At this point, though, with talks really gaining momentum about a college football playoff expansion, I think that little
years
push for
a little bit of years, though, right? It at least
sounds like 2, maybe 2 years, because they have to figure out the logistics of venues, dates, and how to rotate within the other New Year's Six bowls. So it's going to be a little bit of a logistics nightmare, but they're working on it. And I think this type of year is something that is going to be, at the forefront of the discussions. Like, look, there's this controversy around Cincinnati, a non-Power 5, but if we expanded the college football playoff, nobody would really have any complaints about Cincinnati being at 4, because you still have the likes of Notre Dame and Ohio State and Baylor as the Big 12 champion coming in. So I think that's where the conversation is going to be had. It's going to be interesting to see. Let's go to the Michigan-Georgia game real quick. This will obviously be the better of the games. I think. However, I still don't think it's going to be that good of a game. I'm not a huge look. I saw it in person. This Michigan team's beatable. They have a very good defense, but guess what? So does Georgia. And I really think that Georgia just boasts the most elite defensive line out there. Both teams are built around multiple rushing options, talented tight end play. But the quarterbacks leave a little more to be desired. Cade McNamara has had a good year. Stetson Bennett from Georgia. He didn't look good in the SEC title game, that be it Bennett.
No.
But I don't think that it will matter in the next game. I think this Georgia team is going to be pretty angry. I think they're going to be pretty pissed off. How much left does Michigan have? You know what I mean? Like, they've had 3 very, very emotional wins in the past 4 weeks. That being, whether it be beating Penn State in the final minutes, whether it is beating Ohio State, whether it is winning the Big Ten championship. How much do they have left where Georgia, they finally hit that road bump, but I think they're going to bounce back. And with it being down in Miami, closer to Georgia, not that that's a huge deal, but Georgia, I feel like will have a good, strong showing there. Not that Michigan won't. I just have a feeling Georgia is going to win this game. Michigan still, throughout this entire year, has left meat on the bone that I think there is to be desired. I just think that they've reached their peak. You know what I mean? Like, this is what Michigan is. I think Georgia has a little more potential that they could tap after an embarrassing outing against Alabama.
The way I look at it, with you mentioning, like, that they played 2 emotional games, or 3, even if you want to go back that far, really emotional games. Do they have enough left in the tank? It's either they don't have enough left in the tank, or they're going to be riding the high of winning those 2 emotional games, and they're going to keep that momentum flowing. It's going to be, I think, a real defensive battle, because as you said, they both have really good defenses, for sure. And they're going to both try to, lean on the rushing game, especially Michigan. I mean, Michigan has that the elite running game where they were really able to attack, like, Ohio State, really fell victim to Haskins and what he can do. He had a great season this year. And so I think that they're both going to kind of rely on trying to get something moving. And I don't know, because if you're looking at just the rushing games, I trust Michigan 100% more. But if I'm talking the defense, I trust Georgia's defense a little bit more than Michigan's. And like you said, they have that elite defensive line. So can that defensive line hold up Michigan's rush attack enough? I don't know. This game's tough. I lean towards Georgia because they have been, as I saw it, the better team all year. But I would not put it past Michigan to make this interesting and come out and win. And if they ride that high, they could ride it all the way to the championship. I really do think that they have the potential to do that. If you put a gun to my head, though, I'm going to pick Georgia.
Yeah, my gut says Bama Georgia rematch, and then Bama's gonna smack them once again. That's
for the
just
lines,
my gut call.
It's 7.5 to Georgia right now. And then in the Cincinnati, Alabama, it's about 2 touchdowns, 13.5.
And that's kind.
Alabama.
I think that's kind.
Alabama.
The other New Year's Six games, just to throw it out there before we head to the NFL, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl is Michigan State and Pitt, which Pitt.
Oh, can we talk quick about Pitt and their championship game with that fake slide? That is, when I first saw it, I was like,
it's filthy.
I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then when I thought about it more, I was like, wait, that's so not fair. Like, if you start to slide, like the defenders.
No, I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant.
But how can you do
brilliant.
That's a slippery slope, though. You can't like.
I have no problem with it. And I have a lot of problems with Pitt. I have no problem.
But see, if he tries that again and he gets clocked, and then the defender gets a flag because he didn't slow up, but because he faked it that one time, it's like, it's kind of bullshit. I mean, at first I thought I saw it and I thought like you, I was like, oh, that was slick. That was kind of nice. But I mean, in the scheme of things, it's kind of rough because like that's not fair to the defender, because the defender has to pull up, because if he does go down and then the defender hits him, that's obviously a penalty. Like, he gives himself up, you can't do it. But I don't know. It was interesting. It's an interesting play. I've never seen anyone do that.
I had no problem with it. The PlayStation Fiesta Bowl is Notre Dame and Oklahoma State. The Rose Bowl is Utah and Ohio State. I would be stunned if Utah even puts up a whimper against Ohio State. The All-State Sugar Bowl is Baylor and Ole Miss. And actually on New Year's, the Outback Bowl is Penn State and Arkansas. So you have that as well. And then there's a bunch of other good games out there, a bunch of other good bowls. Of note, I'll just throw a couple out there. You have, like I said, the Outback Bowl is Penn State, Arkansas, the Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, baby, Central Michigan and Boise State. Wake Forest and Texas A&M is this Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
That'd be a good one.
That should be a good game. The Las Vegas Bowl is. Some of these names are wild.
Remember when we way back when we had we did a New Year's Day recording where we were at the radio station we used to work at, but we did you guys quizzed me on whether it was an
real or not,
real or bowl or not. That was fun. That's a fun one.
The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl is Wisconsin and Arizona State. The Trans Perfect Music City Bowl is Tennessee and Purdue.
What about the Wasabi Fenway Bowl? SMU and Virginia.
Yeah, that's right. The Cheez-It Bowl is Clemson, Iowa State. The Alamo Bowl is Oregon, Oklahoma. That's actually a pretty good game, Oregon and Oklahoma. The Pinstripe Bowl for the local Yankees fans is Maryland and Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech actually just pulled away Penn State's defensive coordinator, Brent Pryce, their new head coach. And like you said, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, SMU and Virginia.
The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, West Virginia and Minnesota.
And then you have the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Like, some of these, man, are just...
What about the Guaranteed Rate Bowl? Like, what?
The Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl, Military Bowl. My God. Camellia Bowl, Easy Post Hawaii Bowl. Hawaii's in the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl.
The Lockheed Martin Armed Forces. Army would be in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces.
But I think everybody's really, truly gearing up for the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl with UCF in Florida. Okay. All right.
That's the one I'm tuning in. That is must-see television. Appointment TV right there.
That or the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl with UTSA. The undefeated UTSA Roadrunners for San Diego State at Toyota.
They should be in the top 4 because
at Toyota Stadium in Frisco, Texas. My God, so
there's not too many bowls. It's fine.
Myrtle Beach Bowl, R&L Carriers, New Orleans Bowl, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
What?
Utah State and Oregon State, the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl.
He has his own bowl, apparently.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Lending Tree Bowl, the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. How many bowls are there now? New Mexico Bowl, Crickets.
The PUBG Mobile. It's not even just PUBG. It's PUBG Mobile. New Mexico Bowl.
Deion Sanders has his team in the Cricket Celebration Bowl against South Carolina State, Jackson State Tigers.
The roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl. Western Kentucky and Appalachian State.
The Bahamas Bowl sounds kind of nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
LA Bowl.
So now that everybody got their fill of fantastic bowl games coming up,
mark your calendars.
Mark your calendars now. We'll talk about some of these bowl games as they come along, but obviously our college football coverage is starting to dwindle down. We have obviously the New Year's Six and the college football playoff coming up. We will talk plenty about it, but the rankings are done. Bowl games are set. College football playoff is set, and we move on to the next chapter. And before we go to the NFL, I do want to mention about our friends over at Mohawk Honda and the fact that the current supply and demand challenges within the auto industry makes this a perfect time for you to go and get top dollar for your vehicle. Right now at Mohawk Honda, you can take advantage of the Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash offer. They will put cash in your hand for your vehicle the same day you come in, even if you don't buy from them. And that's a pretty sweet deal, especially for all those recent college grads or students in need of a new ride or some extra cash. Mohawk Honda has consistently kept their lot fully stocked with hundreds of pre-owned vehicles. Their large inventory makes shopping fun as you browse through the many makes and models to choose from, and you can also check out their full selection online before you come in and stop and look at the selection that they have. You can do your research at home. Stop in and say hi to Greg Johnson, the Assistant General Manager, Jake Hot Sauce Doyle, Louis the VIP Man Morales, or one of the many other helpful sales consultants there at Mohawk Honda. There's a vast selection of Honda certified pre-owned vehicles, so now is the time to take advantage of the Kelley Blue Book Instant Cash offer, which is Mohawk Honda in Glenville, where they always go out of their way to please you. And while we're talking about Mohawk Honda, it is the 12 Days of Giving at Mohawk Honda. Head to Mohawk Honda's Facebook page now to nominate a charity to receive $5,000. Make sure to comment and tag the charity in the comments, along with likes and sharing their pin post on their Facebook page from now until December 10th. So the remainder of this week up until Friday, they will be accepting submissions in the comments. And on December 11th, Mohawk Honda will start announcing a charity a day until the 24th. 12 lucky charities will get $5,000 a piece each. Share your nominations today. Again, you could do so on their Facebook page with all the instructions there to follow. Taylor, NFL Week 13. It was a little more like it, huh? A little more like it. The Colts shut out the lowly Texans. Minshew Mania grabbed Philadelphia into a frenzy, and the Eagles beat the Jets. Eagles control their own playoff destiny. I don't know if the Colts do, but they're right into the thick of it. Yeah, the Colts need some help.
They need some losses.
Let's look at a couple of these games. Just a little update. Taylor, you were 10-4. I was 8-6. I am 3 games up at 123 and 71.
I made it to ground.
You did. Good for you. Detroit won their first football game. Congratulations in 364 days. The Minnesota, I mean, it's a conversation we have every time. The Vikings, what are the Minnesota Vikings? They'll go and beat the Chargers and then go and lose to the Lions. Make it make sense. It simply doesn't.
Can't pick them.
Dallas handled their business against the Saints. The Saints are really in a downward spiral. Taysom Hill, looked. He's great as a fantasy quarterback, but as an NFL quarterback, not so much. The Giants trotted out Mike Glennon, and they lost to the Miami Dolphins. That went super duper for the Giants, and now they are preparing to start Jake Fromm this week. We will get to that in a little bit. What could possibly go wrong? Your Colts, Taylor, it wasn't pretty for the Colts, all things considered. But
it should have been up by more. Honestly, it should have been like a 50-0.
Right.
Because we got the ball so many times in the first half. And couldn't do anything.
So I guess you could say how picky can you be about a 31-0 win? I mean, against the lowly Texans, you did what you had to do. The Colts moved.
Let's be real. The Texans' defense played well. Their offense is absolutely atrocious, and we were able to take advantage of that, and they couldn't do anything. But the defense did enough in the first half to keep it close. It was 7-0 for a long time, where it shouldn't have been. It should have been like 21-0 early on in the first half, but it wasn't. But you know what? What can I complain about? I mean, they gave the ball to Jonathan Taylor, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Keep it moving, you know.
Yeah, so the Colts actually have a bye this week. They'll have 2 weeks to prepare for the most pivotal stretch of the season. Yeah. You have New England, Arizona, teams that are likely headed to the playoffs, awaiting them on the other side of the bye. And realistically, now that I'm looking at it, the Colts will likely need to win 3 of their final 4 games to make the playoffs. The problem is 3 of those 4 opponents went into Sunday with a winning record. The Colts have beaten only 1 team with a winning record this season, and that is Buffalo. So jury's still out on the Colts. We will see what happens, and then that leads to the Eagles and the Jets. Gardner Minshew's performance is creating quite the stir in Philly, but everybody relax. There really is not a quarterback controversy. Nick Sirianni said as such. Jalen Hurts will play. He is like the starter.
Me or you could go out and freaking win a game.
Well, and that was kind of my point. Like, you know, did Gardner Minshew complete 93.3% of his passes? Yeah. Was it against the Jets? Yeah. So, like, look, he did what you want out of your backup quarterback. Your starting quarterback can't go. You have to win against a team that you should beat, and they did. Does it make me feel better that if something were to happen to Jalen, that the Eagles offense didn't really, skip a beat? Yeah, absolutely. And Miles Sanders ran for over 100 yards. So the Eagles lead the NFL with over 162 rushing yards a game. And Miles Sanders was their first 100-yard rusher the entire season with 120 yards. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, Booby. Dallas Goedert was involved as well. And look, this team has their bye week as well. Look at that, Taylor. Both our teams have the bye this week.
Crazy. We can both relax and not have anything emotional this weekend.
Oh, my God. This Eagles team, it was the Jets, so let's not carry it away, but the Eagles should win more than they lose the rest of the way, regardless of the quarterback. They stay within the division the rest of the year. Washington, New York, Washington, and Dallas. And this is the Eagles control their own destiny. They control their own playoff destiny. Them and Washington are tied for that last and final playoff spot. And, of course, the Eagles play Washington twice. So
Colts need a little bit more. But, I mean, we have our bye week, and other teams have had their bye week. So this is the week where, like, it'll really shape up, like, what happens to the Chargers, what happens to the Bills even, because now that the Bills have been knocked out there in the wild card spot.
Yeah, I know it.
And I think let me pull up that third team, because I know
believe it's currently Pittsburgh. Am I wrong?
Yes, it is. So yeah, no, it's Cincinnati. Cincinnati and the Chargers are both in that spot, and then Buffalo, and then Pittsburgh's right there with them because they have that tie. So they're skewing it off. But it really comes down to what happens this week, and then if the Colts end up out of this week with the wild card, which can happen. If Buffalo loses, we have the tiebreaker over Buffalo, obviously, because we just beat them. So if Buffalo were to lose, then we would have that 7th spot, and then it would be, all up to us. Just keep winning. But
when it comes to the Eagles, like, look, everything's in front of them. They're going to be in the mix the rest of the way. And really, I'm looking at this final stretch, all games within the division. Jalen Hurts, take this team. If you do what you're supposed to do and you lead this team to the playoffs, you're going to have a shot in 2022. So I know Jalen knows that. I know this team needs to get healthy a little bit. Got a little nicked up. I mean, having your bye in week 14 that's rough. That's a rough start to the season, going 13 weeks without having a bye. That's rare. So the Eagles could really use the rest, and I think
so could the Colts. I know both teams could use the rest. Like, just get healthy and get ready for the go. Especially Carson. I know that he hasn't had any injuries, but it's coming down to the wire, and I'm really hoping that
he only needs to play like a drive next week to get 75% of the snaps. So just get through just one more game, please. Just be safe. One more game. Then you
How about all the games? How about all the games?
Then you can blow out your knee again. I care.
No. Don't do that to me. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Hey, as long as I get my 75%, the rest is whatever. That's on you. Arizona handled their business against Chicago. Say less there. The Chargers, I mean, that performance against the Bengals surprised me. I really thought Cincinnati was going to show up, and so did you.
We both picked them, yeah.
Just two teams that you don't know what you're going to get each week, but you know each team's potential is they could beat any team in the NFL.
They're both like, when they're good, they're great, but when they're bad, they're bad. And so it's hard to pick which day they're going to show up.
And you got bad Bengals and good Chargers, and that combination turned into a 41-22 win for LA.
I mean, either one of those teams, too, for the playoff race, like if either one of those teams lose, then I don't know exactly what the tiebreaker situation is, but the Colts are right below them. They just have one more game, and so they have one more loss than these guys. So if either one of those people lose, or those teams lose, then we'll be right in there, too.
Tampa Bay handled their business against Atlanta. There's not really much to touch on there. We already talked Detroit and Minnesota. The Rams beat Jacksonville 37-7. Congratulations. Do you want a cookie? Washington beat Vegas, kind of surprising, but here come the fight. Here come the Fighting Taylor Heineke. He's trying to be relevant.
That's 2 games in a row where they won the game, but it was like. What
they shouldn't have.
It's literally 17-15, 17-15. 2 games in a row. You win a game 17-15. That is weird. That is so weird. Like,
it's a tough-minded physical team, and you should expect nothing less from a Ron Rivera-led football team. But eventually, come playoff time and come down the stretch these next couple weeks, eventually talent is going to beat teams like that. I mean, they're going to be competitive. Do not get me wrong. But the wall is coming for Washington.
Well, they're playing the Cowboys, and I mean,
their next 2 games are Dallas and Philly.
I'm not picking them to beat the Cowboys.
No, and I'm not.
If they do, then maybe I'd pick them to beat the Philly. But like, as of right now, I probably wouldn't pick them to beat Philly. If they beat the Cowboys and a 5-game winning streak, maybe then I would pick them. Maybe then.
Pittsburgh beat Baltimore 20-19. John Harbaugh had a stroke on the sideline. Not really sure why they decided to go for 2.
You play to win the game. You play to win the game. That's what he did. He played to win the game. He went for 2. Didn't get it.
You can win the game in overtime.
But he didn't trust his defense to stop the lightning that is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, right. The electric offense that the Steelers have.
To be fair, it might honestly be one of the best games of Roethlisberger's season. 236, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean,
you
just
realize
no
what you're saying? Like,
yeah, I do realize what I'm saying. Just no interceptions from Ben, and like, I mean, this Steelers offense, like, the thing that holds them back is Ben Roethlisberger, in my opinion, and the offensive line doesn't help at all. But like, they have great pieces. Like, I love Deontay Johnson and all the guys on the outside, and Najee Harris obviously picked him early on in the season to be a big fantasy guy because I do like him. So I think what holds them back is Ben Roethlisberger. But if Ben Roethlisberger is playing well for once in a season, he's going to do well. So they wanted to go for to win the game. I respect it. I mean, like, you played to win the game. And you didn't. So you live with that. But overall, you're concerned about Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's thrown a pick in like 7 consecutive games, it feels like.
The offense looks broken. There's a very, very, very big void there. They just lack so much explosiveness. Something's wrong.
Well, I mean, all their running backs are all hurt.
Yeah, they're all broken.
We talked about that, and they were able to overcome that early in the season, but now I think it's really catching up to them. Like, Lamar Jackson, as much as he runs the ball, probably shouldn't be your leading rusher every single time. So there's that, and then when all the defense is keyed in on either Jackson running it or Jackson throwing it and forcing him to make harder throws, he's not that great of a pocket passer. Let's just be honest with ourselves. He's not that. What makes Lamar Jackson great is his ability to run the ball and the offense's ability to run the ball, which sets up play action for him, which makes easy throws for him. He cannot make great, spectacular throws. He's not that guy. So this is what happens when he struggles.
Right. No, he really isn't. Seattle beat San Francisco, which I mean, Seattle is pretty much out of it, but that really hurts San Francisco because they're in the thick of it. The back end of the NFC is pretty loaded right now in vying for really 5 to 7 because the Rams are likely going to safely have one of them, but 5 to 7 is pretty jam-packed back there. San Francisco losing to a team like Seattle, that's a tough pill for them to swallow. The Chiefs handled their business against Denver. And then the Pats and the Bills, just an absolutely bonkers Monday Night Football game where Mac Jones throws the ball 3 times and leads the Fighting Bill.
Not that, but I called it the Patriots going to win.
I think to be honest, if I think I knew what the weather was going to be like, I would have taken the Pats. But look, the Bills, they don't look very good. They just don't. This is not the Bills that they can't run the ball. And I'm not exactly like, look, how much can I take away from that game? I don't know because the elements just threw everything awry. But I'm not, I'm still not a believer in the Pats. Like, give me
I am.
I mean, know you are.
I said that last week that I said that I thought that they were the best team in the AFC, and
the AFC is a shit show. But I think the Chiefs really are starting to get hot at the right time.
See, the problem is I don't even think that the Chiefs are hot. Their defense is hot. Their defense is very hot. Like the Chiefs defense, which I didn't think I would be saying early on in the season, that the Chiefs defense I think is really carrying them lately because their offense still looks broken. It still doesn't look the same.
I think they're just finding different ways to win. Like I think they could turn on that switch, flip the switch if they need to.
I don't think they can because they haven't. Besides maybe like
they haven't needed to. They're running the ball more. They're relying more on that defense. They're just winning football games in a different way. I don't think it's a cause for concern. They're one of the hottest teams in football right now. They've won 7 straight.
I still don't believe it. As much as you don't believe in the Pats, I don't really believe in the Chiefs until I see them really like take off because they only ran the ball. They rushed for 89 yards, and Patrick Mahomes had 189 yards and a pick. So I mean, the offense, it just doesn't feel like the Chiefs' offense of old. And I guess if you're going to transition to a rely on your defense kind of thing. Like you can do that, I suppose, but I just think against like a better team, you're not going to be able to do that. Like if I put the Chiefs up against the Patriots, I think their defense makes Patrick Mahomes really, really uncomfortable. And then it would be up to, can you stop Mac Jones in that rushing attack? And maybe you can. Maybe that's how you win, and you win a game 14 to 10, just like the Patriots just did. Maybe that's possible, but I just don't believe it as of right now. And as for the Patriots win against the Bills, I mean, Bills, you got to be embarrassed because when they're going to run.
They're going to run the football.
Every down, except for 3. Like, how can you not stop that? Like, how can you not be prepared? Know that they're running it. That's just man versus man at the offensive defensive lines, and the offensive line just manhandled you and just made you look silly. And as for throwing it only 3 times, I think that just goes to the brilliance of Bill Belichick, because early on in that game, or like in the beginning, the pregame, they were kind of talking. They were one of the crew members, I forget who, went down and talked to Josh Allen, and he was kind of explaining how you got to throw when you're in the wind and stuff. And the Patriots realized, hey, Mac Jones is not Josh Allen. He does not have the arm strength to really zip balls through this wind. So what are we going to do? We're just going to rush it. And it worked. And they didn't put Mac Jones in a position to fail. Whereas if I think the Jets were playing against the Bills in this situation, they would have had Zach Wilson throw it all over the place, and it would have been terrible. And so you're putting your quarterback in the best situation possible to win. Knowing his limitations, knowing who he is, knowing he's a rookie, you're playing him the best you possibly can. And I think that that's the way that they're winning. And I don't see why that can't continue.
Everything you're saying is fair. I want to see more of it. Let's go to week 14 because we have a really, really big slate of games. Not many teams are on a bye, even though both our teams are.
Probably the only teams on a bye.
Are we really?
I don't know. I could look it up, but
I'd believe
we
it.
might be. I mean,
I'd believe it. The Thursday night football game is Pittsburgh at Minnesota, and I've been having a real hard time with this game, but my tiebreaker is Kirk Cousins in prime time. Yeah, no, thank you. I'm gonna go with the Steelers. Their defense has been good. Obviously, Minnesota's offense is explosive, but I mean, can I self-consciously take a team that just gave Detroit its first win of the season against Pittsburgh, who's, it's been ugly, but they are winning football games and they're a veteran football team. I think I'm going to go with Pittsburgh on the road.
It's the Colts, Dolphins, Patriots, and Eagles.
There you go. So only 4 teams.
Only 4. So Steelers, Vikings. Again, we talked about how the Vikings are just, you never know what they're going to do. They're so inconsistent. Some days they look great. Some days they look terrible. But I think that the same thing can be said for the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger, as I said. And since Ben Roethlisberger had such a great game last week in division, I think on a short week, I'm going to bet that that's going to regress a little bit. And so I'm going to pick the Vikings to win this game against the Steelers. Plus, I really need them to for, playoff hopes.
Yeah, right. As a Colts fan, that's a game that, you'd like to see the Vikings win.
Especially just to knock the Steelers out of.
And it wouldn't surprise me if the Vikings come out and look like world beaters. That's what they do. They'll lose to Detroit and then go and look good the next week. That's totally a Minnesota thing. But I
guess the prime time really does scare me because we all know Kirk Cousins
don't like prime time
of prime time. So, I guess I'll still go with Vikings.
Start of the Sunday slate: Dallas and the Washington football team. Dallas hasn't looked that good. They kind of look pretty shoddy against New Orleans as well. Washington, though, leaves a lot more to be desired, and I don't really think they're that good of a football team. I'm going to go with Dallas, unfortunately. I would love – this is tough for me because the Eagles are – for me, right, I look at this game. The Eagles still have a shot at the division. They have a shot, and they play Dallas again. However, you're neck and neck with Washington for the wild card spot. So it's like, which one do I want? I guess realistically, assume that Dallas is going to win the division and try to get Washington out of there. I really don't know, but I will never, ever root for the Dallas Cowboys. But I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Dallas. I think they're the more talented team overall. If they put it together and really put a complete game together, I think that they're the better team. I mean, you look at the offense, I would take Dak Prescott over Tyler Heineke every day of the week.
Sure.
On Sundays, I would take Zeke and Pollard, the combination, over Gibson. I would take, the only person who maybe I would take over any of their receivers, maybe I would take Terry McLaurin because I do like Terry McLaurin a whole lot. And I think he is one of the best wide receivers in the game, and I think he's really coming up there. So I probably would take him over, Amari and CeeDee Lamb, but I don't even know who the second Washington receiver is.
I don't know if I'd take McLaurin over CeeDee. Probably Cooper, but not CeeDee.
I like McLaurin over both of them. That's just me. But either way, I'm still taking Amari and CeeDee over I'm taking the whole Dallas core of wide receivers over Washington's wide receivers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So in terms
that's
of
not a hot take.
And in terms of the defense, Washington has been playing a little bit better, but you still got, Diggs on Dallas's side, which if he gets a turnover or two, can turn the game around. So yeah, I'm going Dallas.
Jacksonville and Tennessee. Look, the Titans are obviously in a really bad place right now with injuries and whatnot. But they're not that banged up. Jacksonville really is just god awful. That offense looks lost. Trevor Lawrence has seemed to just not grasp an NFL offense, and that is part of coaching. And I don't think the Jaguars have a competent coaching staff, but that's neither here nor there. Tennessee is still a very good defensively, will still create some short fields. They might be getting Julio Jones back this week. I'm going to go Titans at home.
Yeah, it just makes sense to go with Titans at home, just because as bad as the Titans have been playing lately, they're coming off a 2-game losing, only 2 games, but the first one was to the Texans, which, as the Colts just proved, the Texans are trash. They're really bad, and I really don't understand how the Titans were able to lose that game against them 2 weeks ago. I guess you just chalk it up to the Titans being so banged up that they didn't have anything at all to do anything with. So in terms of this game, I still lean Titans as much as, I mean, if the Titans were to keep losing, they would open the door for the Colts to win the division as well. If the Colts keep winning and the Titans keep losing.
Absolutely.
But they still have the tiebreaker over them. So even if it comes down to obviously a tie, the Titans are winning out. But I think that the Titans will win this game. I mean, the Jaguars are so bad, like
so bad.
It's the best part of being in the AFC South is we play the Jaguars and the Texans twice a year.
Must be nice.
Nice.
Speaking of the Houston Texans, they host Seattle this week, and Russell Wilson finally looked like a competent quarterback again, and they beat the Niners at home in a big divisional game. Seattle still really on the outside looking in. They have to win out to have even be a part of the conversation, which is not likely, but Houston is so bad. Davis Mills is starting for Houston as Tyrod Taylor is once again hurt. If you think I'm taking Davis Mills and the Houston Texans to beat Seattle, you're out of your mind. Seattle in this one.
Listen, I mean, David Mills might play better than Tyrod Taylor played, because honestly, Tyrod Taylor played like trash. His first throw of the game last Sunday was an interception, which set up a short field, and the Colts scored immediately. So I don't know. The Texans offense, I didn't watch the game because I had to work, but I listened to it, and as far as I could tell, the Texans offense was absolutely abysmal. They could not move the ball at all. Even when they turned the Colts over, it was so that they could go 3 and out. And so their defense was the only thing that kept them in that game. It kept them in the game for a half, and maybe they can frustrate Russell Wilson for a half, but can they do it for a full game? I don't think so. I'm taking the Seahawks in this one. As bad as the Seahawks are, the Texans are worse.
Much worse. Raiders and Chiefs in a big AFC West divisional rival game. Like I said, the Chiefs are feeling themselves. Vegas is starting to sputter a little bit, losing to Washington in very ugly fashion. They're becoming one of those teams that I think have hit the wall. I'm going to go Chiefs in this one.
As a point, you mentioned the Chiefs winning streak. It's only at 5. It's not 7. They lost the Chiefs.
Maybe it's the Pats at 7.
Yeah, the Pats are at 7. Yes.
Okay, that's where I was. Okay.
But the Chiefs are on a winning streak. Don't get me wrong. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, and going back.
Still a pretty good winning streak.
Titans. It's okay. But I do think they will extend it to 6 because I mean the last time they played the Raiders, they won 41-14. If I'm to believe that this Chiefs team is what you say it is, what a lot of people say it is, then they will find a way to get this game under wraps. Their defense playing a hell of a lot better. Offense still sputtering, but if the defense keeps playing like this, then I guess the offense doesn't have to put up 30 points a game, even though I think that that's where they should be if they're going to be the Chiefs of old and if they have any hopes of winning, getting back to the Super Bowl and winning it. As we both predicted they'd be there. But
I still believe they will be based on the shit that the AFC has turned out this year.
At this point, their only competition seems like the Patriots or maybe the Ravens if you want to put them in.
I was going to say if the Ravens get themselves right, but
Lamar Jackson's been playing so poorly, I would say, as of late. So
I know.
But I do think the Chiefs, I guess I'll give them this one. I'll take them against the Raiders.
Saints at Jets. It's going to be Taysom Hill. They're hoping that they get Alvin Kamara back this week. Saints really need a win.
They get Alvin Kamara back. I need him in my fantasy team so badly.
I know it's rough. He has the questionable tag again. It's like, all right, is this going to be?
He screwed me. Well, I guess I screwed myself. I shouldn't really blame him, but because there was a Thursday game, I forgot that they were playing on Thursday. So I got the notification Thursday that he wasn't going to play. And I was like, oh, I'll take care of it later. No, he was playing on Thursday. So he was still in my lineup.
Oh, no.
But in that one, I'm still, because I lost, but also the leader of the division in the fantasy that I'm talking about also lost. So we're both at 7-6. So I just need him to lose and me to win, or to break the tiebreaker. I think it's points for, but I don't know how far behind I am. But like, I just need to win and get in, and then I get a bye too, because the winner of that division gets a bye. Even though all the other people have better records than me, I would still get a first round bye, which would be awesome.
Yeah,
so
I have a feeling Kamara will be back this week. Things are starting to point that way, but we will see. The Jets look really bad. And I mean, you know, when your players are saying you're not prepared for a backup quarterback, I really question how ready you are going to be to play any team. And, you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Bryce Hall, the corner for the Jets, said that they did not change their game plan in the way they prepared for the week because they thought that Jalen Hurts was going to play, and that it doesn't matter because Gardner Minshew is the same style of quarterback as Jalen Hurts, which is not it.
First of all, how could you not know? Because I knew because of you, because you tweeted as per, I don't remember who you are, who the guy you tweeted. Because he's an Eagle. He's an Eagles insider that I've known for a long time, and he now works for the Eagles. So I got that Thursday night. Yeah, and so I got it from you Thursday night. And so before it was even public, I was already taking Jalen Hurts and picking up Gardner Minshew and putting him in all my lineups that I have Jalen Hurts. And so like I knew on Thursday because of you. So how could an NFL player and a scouting team not know? And to say that Gardner Minshew is the same as Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback who can also throw, but Minshew is not that. He can run, but like he's not going to be tailoring the game around running. He's going to sit in the pocket and throw. Like the thing, and one of my good friends is a Jets fan, and he lives down in the city, and we hopped on PlayStation and hopped on mic and watched the game. It was kind of cool, but we were on headset watching the game. It was cool. But you know, the point that we were making is like, look, you brought in Robert Saleh, who is a defensive-minded head coach, has been part of two very good defenses between Seattle and San Francisco. Yep. So that's your specialty. How do you not prepare your team? And Greeny made this a great point. Keyshawn Johnson made this a point. Any NFL player knows this. And you don't even have to be an NFL player to know this, because this isn't just the NFL. I mean, we did this for hockey. You do this for basketball. You do this for any sport. You know not only who the starters are, but you know who the backups are, because that's what you do. You game plan. You look at the team. You are one injury away from the backup coming in. You need to know what the backup does. If there is any conversation that Jalen Hurts might miss that game, and all week there was questions if Jalen Hurts was going to play. This wasn't like it popped out of nowhere. Like all of a sudden, oh shit, Jalen Hurts is out. Like there was a chance Gardner Minshew was going to play immediately following the game against the Giants. How, as an NFL head coach, do you not at least have the thought that Gardner Minshew is going to be the quarterback? That's
and how
do you
and look, I don't know if Bryce Hall made this out to be wrong or a situation that wasn't the case, but to sit there and have your top corner come out and say Gardner Minshew, the game plan doesn't change between Jalen Hurts and Gardner Minshew. Gardner Minshew don't run.
Yeah. Not unless he absolutely has to. Like Jalen Hurts will have designed runs for him to run.
Nick Sirianni has designed run. Correct. So to say that the offense doesn't change with the quarterbacks, it was kind of like saying, you know, Michael Vick and Nick Foles are the same. Like that just ain't it. You know what I'm saying? So
like Mike Vick or Ben Roethlisberger. So it's the same quarterback. They play the same way, so it's fine. Like, what?
There is legitimate concern for Jets fans, on top of the fact that Zach Wilson has not looked good. Corey Davis out for the year. I'm going to take the Saints in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Saints in this one too. As bad as the Saints may have looked in their last couple games, I still think they can put it together, especially if they get Kamara back.
I trust Sean Payton versus Robert Saleh
100% of the time. And especially if they get Kamara back, I mean, he's a huge part of their offense, and they've obviously been missing him. Because, I mean, if you don't have Michael Thomas and then you also don't have Kamara, then, like, what are you as the Saints? Like, their offense is built upon the fact that you have, like, this standout wide receiver who you haven't had all year. And then Kamara, who can do it all. He can catch, he can run, he can do everything. So if he comes back, which God hope he comes back, the Saints offense should be marginally better, even with Taysom Hill, and they should beat the lowly Jets, who are probably they're probably not even game planning for Kamara because he's listed as questionable.
Yeah, Kamara's questionable, so why game plan for him?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as if he's out of season. It's the same game plan.
Unreal. I mean, I didn't know it could get worse than Adam Gase, but I'm not at the point that it's worse than Adam Gase yet, but I mean, come on.
I don't know, because it seems like no matter who they bring in, it's just all bad.
But the thing is, like,
organization from the core is just rotten.
But like, who was the hot name out of the coaching search last year? Robert Saleh. He was the guy that a lot of people were going to as the top coaching candidate. So I thought this was a great hire for the Jets. You have a rookie head coach versus a rookie head coach, and people have a lot of negative things to say about Nick Sirianni, but guess what? He has learned throughout this year, and the team has gotten better. Nick Sirianni out-coached Robert Saleh. That was the difference in that game. How can you go into that game? We're going to move on. The Falcons
talk all day about how bad the Jets are, but
we could. The Falcons take on the Panthers. Cam Newton and the Panthers in a complete sputter as well against the Falcons. Both teams still technically in the playoff hunt. Believe it or not, they're considered part of the conversation. I'm going to go with Carolina,
where the Lions aren't mathematically eliminated yet. So it was like this whole page of like what needs to happen.
What needs to happen for the Lions?
For the Lions to make the playoffs. It was insane. Starting with the Lions needed to win every game after that. Which
that's gonna help. Yeah, that would be a starting point. Carol, I'm gonna take Carolina in this one. Like, look, this is literally a coin flip game. Carolina's at home. The Falcons look really, really bad, and at least Carolina. I think Cam, I mean, he's looked bad, but and firing Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator is confusing to me. I think that's not the way to go. Joe Brady is one of the young up and coming minds in the league, I think. But so firing Brady was a little bit of a head scratcher for a lot of people. I still am going to go Carolina. I don't think Atlanta is really showing much signs of life at this point. Cordero Patterson's a great talking point, but other than that, I mean, Matt Ryan looks done. He looks absolutely fried. The defense is terrible. He's thrown his top option outside of Cordero Patterson is Russell Gage. At least Carolina has a good defense. I'm going to go Panthers.
Yeah, I'll probably go Panthers as well. I mean, I wouldn't say that Cam Newton and the Panthers have looked bad other than the last
Cam looked bad last week. Cam looked bad.
Yes, last week he did. He did look bad. But then they had the bye week, and then now they're coming back. And so I think that they'll play better. Cam was bad, but the game before that,
2 weeks ago, I should say.
Yeah. But the week before that, I don't think he was very bad. Like he played well enough. And then they kind of ran into a buzzsaw. But I do think that Cam will play better. I don't think that is the Cam that we'll see every week. And like you said, this Falcons team is wishy-washy at best, terrible at worst. Their only light at the tunnel is Cordell Patterson and the things that he's been able to do. They have Kyle Pitts, but it seems like they don't want to get him involved ever. Or at least it seems like it, because he's on one of my fantasy teams and he rarely does anything. But yeah, at home, I'm going Carolina.
Baltimore at Cleveland. Baltimore is still holding on to the top of that division, although that lead is shrinking. They are at Cleveland, a big game between two division rivals. Baltimore needs to get right. If I think that they're one of the three top teams in the AFC, which I do, this is a game the Ravens need to win. So I'm going to go out on a limb one last time for them and say that the Ravens will go on the road and beat the Browns.
Yeah, the Browns on a 3-game losing streak. They had the bye. They actually played the Ravens, and then they have a bye, and then they play the Ravens. So it's basically back-to-back Ravens games. Can they learn from it? Probably not. I mean, Lamar Jackson was terrible in that game.
Awful.
And they still won the game. Like, the Browns were still not able to win. 4 interceptions for Lamar Jackson in that last game against Cleveland, which was Cleveland's last game. I don't know if they can do that again. Like, I don't know if Lamar Jackson will do that again, because, I mean, you can't get much worse than that. So if you're going to play better than that and you still won that game, then I think that you will go ahead and probably win this game. Cleveland is one of those teams that's ridiculously inconsistent as well. That's why they're sitting at 6-6, because they have games where they go out and beat the Bengals 41-16, and then they lose to the Patriots 45-7 the next week. Barely won against the Lions. So yeah, I'm going Ravens in this one. I feel like we're all not chalk, but we're pretty much down. We haven't disagreed on any so far, right?
Pittsburgh and Minnesota we have.
Oh, okay. You picked Pittsburgh? Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
And I think we're going to agree on this one. Jake Fromm and the New York Giants head out to LA to play the Chargers.
Yeah, Chargers coming off about this one.
Yeah. Can we move on? Chargers by a lot. Detroit, coming off their first win of the year, heads out to Denver. And look, Denver has looked pretty bad at times. And I think now that Detroit got their win, they want that number 1 overall pick. I think that's it. I'm sorry. I know you're still mathematically in the chase, Detroit, but Denver does have a very good defense. They do enough offensively that I think they'll beat Detroit.
Yeah, I think that the Broncos will beat Detroit. I mean, Detroit, the only win that they have, is against the Vikings, who we can never really call what they're going to do on any given night because they're so wishy-washy and so inconsistent. But like I said, I don't know if I'll pick the Lions to win because, let's be honest, they are a bad team. They barely scraped through that win the other day on Sunday. Broncos are going to find a way to win this game. That's the bottom line. Their defense is too good for the Lions to be able to put up any points.
I agree. San Francisco at Cincinnati. Look, two teams that I don't know what to do. San Francisco coming off a loss against Seattle. Cincinnati coming off a brutal loss against the Chargers. Burrow is banged up. Mixon's banged up. I'm going to go with San Francisco on the road on this one. I think San Francisco is going to grab a road victory. Cincinnati, I can't trust them right now. Not that I trust San Francisco, but I think, San Francisco has enough to beat, Cincinnati. I want to pick Cincinnati. I do. I really, really do. But Burrow's banged up. He has a bum ankle. He has a fractured finger. This is tough. I think San Francisco is going to win this game. This just screams San Francisco road win.
In this one, I think I'm going to go Cincinnati. So we are going to disagree on that one. I just think that coming off that loss, Cincinnati has been inconsistent, but they're liable to bounce back after a tough loss. And I do think they have the pieces overall. Like I do like Burrow and Jamar Chase and Joe Mixon, banged up as they are. I think that they'll still be able to move the ball, and they're due for one of those games. I think that they just come out and smack a team. So I think that I'm gonna go Cincinnati in this one.
Let's look at probably the game of the week, in my opinion, which would be Buffalo at Tampa. some people's preseason Super Bowl pick. Not mine, but Buffalo is looking. Buffalo has not looked good, and to go in to play Tampa, who really has looked better of late. They kind of had that 2-game stretch where they were stumbling a little bit. But this is Tom Brady and the Bucs at home against a Buffalo Bills team that does not seem to be right now. I'm going to go the Bucs.
Yeah, no, I'm going the Buccaneers. Let's be honest. Who's the better team? Who has played the better football all season long? It's the Buccaneers. Like, the Bills have had a game here and there where they played well, but then they have games where they stink it up against the Colts, and the Colts run all over them.
Yeah.
And or they lose against the Bills, in which they literally ran it every single time, besides for 3 times, and they couldn't stop it. And so when I look at this game, what do the Bills do best? They throw the ball. What do they do worst? Run the ball. They won't be able to run at all against the Buccaneers because the Buccaneers have one of the best run defenses in the league, and the Bills can't run it as it is. And so they're going to be one-dimensional, and they're going to be able to focus on the fact that they're going to be throwing the ball. And so when you're such a one-dimensional team, I think that plays a real detriment to your success and your hopes of winning games. And the Buccaneers are rounding into form. Tom Brady is playing as well as he has ever played. They're going to put up points, and I don't think the Bills are going to be able to put up points as readily as they are. So I'm going to go with the Buccaneers in this one. It may be the game of the week, but honestly, I think that the Buccaneers easily handle this game. I don't believe in the Bills very much.
No.
You haven't held.
Neither do I, so I can't disagree with you. Sunday night football game, it's not going to be much of a primetime game. The Bears head to Lambeau to take on the Packers. The Bears, they're an absolute dumpster fire of a team right now. The Packers, in my opinion, are the best team in the NFC. Do I even need to say it? Green Bay.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Packers are one of the best teams in the NFC, best teams in the league. Let's be honest, because the top of the NFC seems
not enough people are talking about that defense either.
Yeah,
that defense has been good.
The top of the NFC is the top of the league, in my opinion. You know, the Packers, the Cardinals, and the Bucs are right there as the top 3 teams in the NFL, in my opinion, just because the AFC has been so lacking in anything resembling a real contender, besides maybe, I believe in the Patriots, but that's just seems to be just me, as they're going to be like one of those teams. But yeah, I think the Packers are going to easily win this game against the Bears.
Which leads us to our Monday night game, the Rams and the Cardinals.
That's the game of the week, I think, honestly.
Oh, my. Rams and the Cardinals. Look, the Cardinals look good. They do. They got healthy, too. And the Rams just absolutely smacked the Jaguars, so it's shocker, I guess, but haven't looked good since. I'm not – oh, man. I'm not a huge believer in Arizona. I'm not. I'm really not. But the Rams have not shown enough lately for me to believe that they're going to win this game. Like, they've looked that bad. The Rams have looked that bad. And until they get onto a little winning streak, I'm not sure I can trust them. With Kyler and Hopkins back, I trust Arizona a little more at home. I'm going to go the Cardinals.
Well, I, on the other hand, am a firm believer in the Cardinals. They have the best record in the NFL, 10-2. They won even when Kyler Murray was out for an extended period. I think it was like 3 or 4 games, but still. And winning without Kyler Murray and without DeAndre Hopkins for a lot of that as well. I just don't know what else the Cardinals have to do to like prove it to people that they're like legit. I mean, winning without your star quarterback, still people doubt it, but I'm a firm believer that the Cardinals are one of the best 3 teams in the NFL, in the NFC, in the NFL, because I think the best in the NFC is the best in the NFL. Yeah, I think the Cardinals win this game. The Rams might put up a fight, and maybe the Rams really need this game to really get right for the rest of their season, especially. I mean, they're probably still going to make the playoffs regardless because they are sitting at 8-4, but I'm sure they would love to have this win and keep even the hopes of winning the division, I mean, is somewhat alive. But I think the Cardinals win this game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good Monday night game. So that'll do it for our slate of games. Hopefully I don't lose 2 games and all of a sudden see myself, only up 1.
The Cardinals?
Yeah, I picked the Cardinals.
Yeah,
we have 2 games.
Hopefully you do. Hopefully you do lose 2, and you're only up by 1.
We have 2 differences. I picked Pittsburgh, you picked Minnesota, and I picked San Francisco, you picked Cincinnati. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So let's go to our fantasy. Well, before I should say we go to our fantasy studs and duds of the week, I do want to mention that if you enjoy this podcast, which I know you do because you're listening, and other Gozilla Media shows, make sure to join Gozilla Media's Christmas party, which is this Friday, December 10th. Gozilla Media is partnering with DeCrescenti, Heineken, and Hooters for an exciting holiday celebration. Levac and Goz will be broadcasting live from Hooters from 5 to 7. If you bring any unwrapped Christmas gift, the staff from Heineken will wrap your gift for you. Plus, if you bring any unwrapped kids' toy to the event, you will have a chance to win $150 thanks to DeCrescenti. Join Gozilla Media's first ever Christmas party to celebrate the holidays. Enjoy delicious Heineken and share gifts this Friday, December 10th at Hooters. Definitely will be a fun time for all in attendance there.
Yep.
Let's talk some fantasy, Taylor. Let's talk some fantasy, huh? The playoff push is underway. Stardom, situms. Who are we looking at? Who are we starting? Who are we getting into our lineups as the playoff push continues in most leagues, except for the Gozilla League? This is the final week of the regular season. I cannot believe Goz set this up as the start of the quarterfinals.
I don't know if he did it or whether it was just a Yahoo default. He didn't change it because I'm in another Yahoo league that's starting this week.
This is the only league that I'm in, and I'm in 5 that the playoffs start this week.
I don't know.
You should not start the playoffs when bye weeks are still going on. Half my team's
on
bye.
Like trying to avoid, yeah, I know I have run into that problem too, but trying to avoid like playing on week 17. Is that?
No, the week 17, 14, 18 now.
15, 16. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. Maybe
I'm without
revise that for next time.
I'm without my starting quarterback and my RB2 in the first week of the playoffs, and even though I'm the 2 seed, I don't have a bye.
Well, I feel your pain, except that I'm not in the playoffs at all in our league. In our league, I'm done, so I'm just chilling. Yeah, well, I didn't make it.
I'm not happy.
Christian McCaffrey really, sucker punched me with that. So, in our league, I'm not in the other league for Yahoo that I'm in.
I'll try my best, but if I lose, it's because half my team's on a fucking bye.
My other Yahoo league, I am in the playoffs, but I have the first round bye, so I can just chill for a week. And then in that other league that I'm talking about, I am fighting for my life, trying to win this game and hoping that he loses the game so I can win the division and somehow get a first round bye out of this. And then I have another league that I'm pretty much out. I think I have a 3% chance to make the playoffs. I don't even know what has to happen. I think my team has to outscore the team above me, and they have to lose, and I have to win so that the tiebreaker points for I'm winning that one. But that's neither here nor there. For my fantasy stud, I'm looking at the Broncos game against Detroit, and I think you guys should start Javonte Williams.
All right, so you stole my starting.
So Javonte Williams, in his last 2 games, he's put up 178 yards from scrimmage last week with a touchdown. That's combining rushing and receiving. And then the week before, he put up 111 yards total and a touchdown. So he is thriving right now. Denver is moving towards running him more. He is really taking charge of that backfield. I know it's a crowded backfield, but Williams has shown that he is worth it, and he is worth the start. He's had upwards of 20 points both these last 2 weeks in fantasy. And I think against Denver or Detroit, I mean, it's a no-brainer. You start him. He is on his rise right now, and so you plug him in right now. I think that he can do wonders for your fantasy option. Even a run back 1 or 2, or he's a great flex option.
Yeah, I have Javonte Williams in my all very important keeper league, and I'm very excited that my sleeper of the year is finally
He's really
paying off.
rounding into form.
Yeah, he's been good and consistent all year, but without Melvin Gordon in the lineup, and it's to be determined if Gordon is going to see, the inactive list once again this week. But I mean, if he does,
even if he does, I still think
he's a top 10. Williams is a top 10 play if Gordon misses time again. But since you went, my guy, I'll go to my second guy, which is Elijah Moore, the wide receiver for the Jets, and not only is he startable, but Moore is really thriving more than someone who has been in the gym for a couple, for a couple months working with a rookie quarterback. He saw 12 targets on Sunday, caught 6 passes, 77 yards with a score. He was wide receiver 9 last week, and he's averaging 18.9 PPR points per game since week 13, and that is wide receiver 3. He is wide receiver 3 over the past couple of weeks. Jets announced that Corey Davis is done for the year with core muscle surgery, meaning nothing is standing in way of more and more continued success and even more targets. He's a must-start, top 16 wide receiver moving forward. This guy is legit. He's good. And, the Jets are going to be playing behind a lot. So Elijah Moore is definitely a guy that I would get into your starting lineups if you have them.
Yes.
Let's go to our
Jets are going to be playing from behind.
Yeah. Let's go to the duds of the week, Taylor. And it gets harder and harder each week because a lot of these guys you need, because of all the injuries, it's harder to find duds because really you don't have an option. If he has some kind of role in the offense, you're probably at this point forced to start him because of how many injuries are out there. But if there are guys that maybe not will dud, but don't expect him to meet expectations this week, who is that going to be?
All right. For me, maybe this is obvious and maybe I should change it, but I won't. The Bills running backs, Zach Moss and Singletary. If you have them and you're starting them regularly, I feel bad for you. But if you have any choice whatsoever to change out of, you're probably not starting Moss because let's be honest, he's been absolutely atrocious. Singletary has had at least some value. He's had some run, but let's be honest, the Bills are playing the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are the best run defense in the league, or top run defense in the league. Don't start Singletary. Don't start Moss unless you have no other option. But even if you don't have any option, find an option because they're not going to run at all. And they might try to force the ball a couple times, but the Buccaneers aren't going to let them get run free. And Singletary has been pretty touchdown dependent all year, and I just don't see him getting any sort of way into the end zone at this point.
So I'm going to go running back just because so many people are grasping for anything that they can find at the bottom of the barrel for running backs, right? I mean, look how many running backs are out right now, including damn near the entire first round at this point is out. Kamara might be back this week, but who knows? But bottom line is you're looking for some type of running back depth, and a lot of popular waiver wire ads these past couple of weeks, if not last week, definitely this week, has been Rex Burkhead for the Houston Texans. For the third week in a row, Burkhead actually led the Texans backfield, but that's kind of like saying you managed to get on the podium in a race of 3. Here's your gold star, pat on the back, please, let's move forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has 38 rushes in the last 3 games, which sounds healthy. Sounds like a good PPR value. Definitely somebody that receives, touches out of the backfield.
Let me guess how many yards. He probably has 2.3 yards per carry.
A little harsh. 2.55.
It was not that far off.
No. People are looking at Burkhead's stats. He has the most recent touchdown for a Texans running back. Guess when the last touchdown for a Texans running back was?
I don't know. What is it? Week 14, week 10?
October 31st. So
I don't know. That
it's been a minute.
That would have been week 8. Week 8, actually. That it was farther back than I thought.
So be my guest if you would like to hitch your wagon to anybody part of the Houston Texans backfield, but
don't do it.
Don't do it. Rex Burkhead, sit him. Just save yourself the anxiety.
As someone who just listened / watched a whole Texans game, don't do it. Don't do it. They couldn't manage anything against the Colts. The Colts have a good defense, but still, like that. They're not a good team, and if anything, their best player on offense is Brandon Cooks, and so they're gonna be throwing it if they're doing anything. They just can't manage any runs. Their offensive line is trash. Just don't do it. I agree.
Trash, absolute trash. That'll do it for this week's episode of Sports with a Z and a T. And I do also want to give a shout out to Saving Face Barbershop up in Saratoga Springs. Yeah, Taylor needs to go. I'm trying to hold off. Closer to the holidays, and we have a New Year's Eve wedding we have to go to. So I'm trying to get through the next week or two here without going. But check out our boy Jeremiah up off exit 13N in Saratoga Springs. Great atmosphere up there. Has a bunch of great guys. If you can't get in with Jeremiah, he has plenty of other barbers that do an awesome job. Great atmosphere, always sports on the TV, great conversation. Give them a call or check them out on their website. You can book your appointment online. You can see who's available, when there's available, with the type of appointment that you are looking to find. They have close face shaves. They have at-home appointments. They have senior discounts, veteran discounts, youth discounts, everything. Definitely check them out if you haven't done so. And if you are going to be going there and your first time customers there, mention that you heard about them from the guys at Sports with a Z and a T, Bryce and Taylor, and they will definitely take care of you there. And I guarantee you'll like the way you look once you're out of there. Especially with the holidays, you want a fresh cut during the holidays.
Men's Warehouse, you're gonna like the way you look.
I feel like Men's Warehouse right now. I literally got right home from work. I was like, shit,
For those of you who are just listening, he's currently in like a shirt and a tie.
My other job that is literally 5 days a week, shirt and tie, dress pants. It's not the most comfortable, but sometimes you don't have time to change.
I work clubs at work, so I'm pretty comfy. But
there you go. But no, that'll do it for this week's episode of Sports with a Z and a T. Everybody that will be going to the Gozilla Media Christmas party, have fun, stay safe.
Please come and drive responsibly. Have a DD.
Drive.
Watch as you want.
Drive
Not
responsibly.
the DD, obviously, but
right.
You can.
But no, enjoy football. Enjoy the start. I don't think bowl games start quite yet. But
Bryce, enjoy your bye week.
You too, Taylor. Enjoy a stress-free weekend of football.
Just watch some fun football. Nothing at stake. Besides, if you bet, I don't know.
Yeah, I do. I do bet. Well, I'm not going to really be totally stress-free because, I'm in the playoffs already.
That's
in
true.
a certain
That's
league.
True.
So
if anyone's in the fantasy playoffs, good luck to you. I'm in, like I said, the one, and I got the bye week, so I'm just chilling. And then I got another one where I'm really trying hard to get that division. It's so tough. All right. Otis, so cute. Oh my god.
Otis, say hi to all the listeners.
If anyone isn't ever gone to our YouTube, just go to our YouTube for the last 30 seconds.
You don't even have to watch the episode. Just go to the last
30 seconds and just take a look at Otis because he is a pretty cute boy.
He's the goodest boy when he wants to be. The goodest boy. All right, guys. Have a good week. Stay safe out there. For Taylor, I am Bryce. This was Sports with a Z and a T presented by Gozilla Media, and we will catch you next week.
See ya.